Welcome to Hotline TV, everybody. I'm John Mercurio.
And I'm Amy Walter. All right, John, in Florida yesterday, a bit of an uncomfortable cabinet meeting, one could say. Just a day after Charlie Crist announces he's running for the Senate, the people who want to succeed him, who happen to also be flanking him. And not a flank steak. Oh, that sounds good. I'm so hungry. Anyway,
we're both very
flanking
hungry
him
right
at that meeting, sniping at each other a little bit.
Yeah.
AG Bill McCollum, CFO Alex Sink.
Right.
John, we got a governor's contest brewing up before anybody's even officially in the contest.
And I think that's going to become, you're right, the Miami Herald today called Charlie Crist the accidental referee between Democrat Alex Sink, Republican Bill McCollum going at each other in this cabinet meeting. You're already hearing the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee give a little bit of an inkling as to what the campaign against Charlie Crist is going to look like. Right. A big part of their attack line is going to be, you've got a state in crisis, a huge economic crisis going on in Florida, home foreclosure rates higher than they are almost anywhere in the nation, and you're abandoning that to become a junior senator in the minority party on Capitol Hill. Look what you're doing to the important state of Florida. The potential for the gridlock, the sniping, the bickering between Alex Sink and Bill McCollum on the campaign trail is going to play into the Democratic Party's hands in the Senate race. They're going to say, look what you're leaving behind. Look at this 18-month campaign cycle that you've created, very crucial time for Florida. And it could be effective. It could be effective, I think, depending on how the economy improves or doesn't improve in Florida.
Well, and already the fight is over. At least this is what Alex Sink wants to make the fight about, whether Bill McCollum has used his official office to run PSAs that were really just promoting him, right? So that taxpayer dollars being spent essentially to promote yourself rather than the issues. So I think we're going to see a lot of that back and forth. To me, the more interesting thing about Florida governor is this. It's going to be a contest between which is the worst label to have in 2010. Former banker for
Sink.
Big Bank of America, which Alex Sink did until 2000, or career politician. Now, normally we always say career, which is Bill McCollum, who's been on the ballot every year since 1980, with the exception of 2002. Right. So, which one?
And he's also not a child of the 1994 revolution, but a strong ally of Gingrich's dating back to the 90s.
Although, does anybody even remember that anymore? I mean, more people have moved into Florida since that.
I think it's an effective line. I mean, I think if you're going to say career politician, I think if you mention that and then you tie that to Capitol Hill Republicans, Newt Gingrich, it's a nice, tidy little package.
Very interesting.
If you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do know what you're talking about. All right, so the other question, too, is the whole conservative, moderate, liberal back and forth with Rubio and Crist.
Oh, we're moving to the Senate race?
Well, I'm just going to talk about this for 1 second.
No, please. I love it.
Because I guess that I'm still waiting to see if this is real. I think national folks want to make this a story because it sounds so good, right?
National
the parties,
conservatives or national media.
National media want to make this a story, and I understand why, which is the party trying to find itself. Charlie Crist is a moderate. He's going to save the day. Republicans lining up behind him. I think in any other case, though, this would not be a story if it weren't for everything else that's going on. The bottom line is Charlie Crist, he's a good candidate in his own right, and that is more of the issue than he's a moderate, and that's why he needs to win. It's that he has a 70% approval rating. Even if he were the conservative and Rubio were a teeny bit more conservative, they would still go with him.
You know, Charlie Crist needs to get rid of this storyline as quickly as possible, and he also needs to get rid of Marco Rubio, frankly, as quickly as possible, because it's dangerous, I think, to run with the backdrop being, I'm the most popular governor in the country, I'm the inevitable front runner, and then to stumble across the primary finish line next August with, you know, a 10-point victory over someone named Marco Rubio that nobody has ever heard of. He needs to win convincingly in what I still think is going to be a relatively competitive general election if it's Kendrick Meek. If Obama hasn't stumbled and Meek can run as an Obama Democrat in Florida, I still think that's a race we'll be watching. I think Crist has the upper hand, but I think Rubio is I give Crist the edge, but I think that it's Rubio is a bigger problem for
All right, I'm still waiting to see if Rubio will
not that he wins, and not that it becomes a big schism
no,
in the
but
party,
I mean,
but that it's
an unnecessary amount of time that Crist has to spend battling his own party. All right.
Good stuff.
Wow.
Great
Florida
show.
is going to be a lot of fun. And remember, redistricting in 2010,
I remember redistricting.
The governor gets veto power over this, so this is actually more than just a symbolic victory for the parties. We're going to be watching, of course, all the machinations there. All right. Until next time, though, I'm Amy Walter.
And I'm John Mercurio. Thanks so much for joining us on Hotline TV. We'll see you next time.